These are my thoughts, commentary, opinion. I'm not claiming to be any source of news. Please don't use me as your only source of information on any subject. But I made a few videos too so far about the subject, and then I privated the first. And as more information comes out, um, I was trying to release an edited video with all the videos that they've released of the incident in Minneapolis. And of course, I couldn't get the sizes were messing up on me. It was a bunch of different sizes, but there is footage. It seems to be from a security camera across the street capturing the moment where Renee Good's wife, I'm gonna call her wife because that's what most places call. Oh, hey Bertha, sorry I didn't see you. How are you doing? Um, I've been editing a video about the Epstein files. It shouldn't take me much longer, but I really think that it's interesting and all these things taking place. They are real and like real tragedies, but I almost feel like it's a distraction too. It's like one thing after another. I also wanted to talk about there was another man who was murdered by an off-duty ICE agent. That story, it's we'll get into that in a little bit. Hey, shot to the T. How are you? I'm glad you're good, Bertha. I already said what, like, I don't want everybody that follows me to necessarily think the same thing. Everybody's welcome here. It would be awful if everybody thought the same thing in any space. I honestly feel that way. And like, I know I put my foot down and said a few things lately. I still want people to know they're welcome no matter what. Do you really have to send those crappy notifications over and over? I don't know what you're talking about, Marat. How are you? I'm doing good. So, if you didn't know, for anybody that didn't know, it was yesterday at 9:40 a.m. in Minneapolis. A woman was shot 3 times by an ICE agent. And today they released, I did a live this morning, and after that live, there was a new viewpoint. It was actually the cop's phone, not a body cam. He had his phone. And I think that's super duper interesting. Once again, this is just my thoughts and commentary. And like, I love to hear anybody else's. I'm not saying that I'm right, but it was like they supposedly had had prior interactions with her, and people said she was following them all day. Well, they've dropped a kid off at school. I'm guessing most schools start around 8 a.m., maybe as late as like 8:30, but still, she got shot at 9:40. And so they had had prior interactions, and I'm just speculating this, okay? I don't know anything at all. I'm not a mind reader. I'm not claiming to know this, but just didn't hear anybody else talk about it. Like, they are out of control, shot to the T. I'm surprised there haven't been more. Yeah, it's real. I think that honestly, I do think it's real. Well, I mean, it could have been a psyop, but like, you know what I mean. I'm not saying that for sure, but I feel like it's a distraction, and it's also possibly to there's gonna be more and more chaos like this on our streets, and then they will wanna, like, echo in martial law and everywhere, not just in a few big cities. That's what I'm afraid it's gonna lead to, and ever since I forget what year the Patriot Act, I'm sorry, the Patriot Act was signed, like, that's when I very first started getting into, like, what is really it was when I was injured by a preventative medicinal not you're not allowed to talk about it, and I really realized how much our government was in bed with the pharmaceutical corporations and oil, and still that and as well as tech now. So I really do believe it's like us versus them. Even when I have a strong opinion about something, I want everybody to feel welcome here, as long as you're respectful. But this just really irked me, and the no medical care when somebody claimed to be a doctor. Granted, maybe he wasn't. There wasn't like an ambulance there, or at least nobody filmed this waiting, and they didn't let the alleged physician check for her pulse. That's not ideal. I don't think if it was any of our loved ones, that would be okay. I guess there are two people who were shot in Portland, and they've been tied to the gang. I know how to say this, Deagua, that Cheyenne Deagua. And it's interesting because it's the same left-wing news reports reporting this, news outlets that denied that that gang was like a problem in our country at all. But like, I mean, I guess maybe they didn't deny they weren't 100% here. But so, okay, they do seem to be. I like that the border is tightened up, first of all. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't completely hate everything that Trump's done, but I feel like he's done so much disappointing things that it's like, especially with the Epstein files. And I don't know how much you're following. Oh, thank you, Anthony. The release. I follow the conspiracy files here on YouTube. He's made a few great videos. If you watch his videos, you'll be like, Epstein's youngest victim was not 14 years old, in my opinion. And it's like, it's glaring in our faces. There's several kids of like ages from toddlerhood to like definitely well under 14 years old, like 5, 6, 7, 8, some around like 12-ish. Like there's so much that I feel like people just think because he passed away, that's not happening anymore. Like nobody's concerned about a possible child trafficking ring because of pizza, GATE. They made that, a right wing conspiracy theory, and therefore there are no children being trafficked by elite people. They just stopped doing that. So many of them were participating for so long, but then they just all stopped. Like that's not how this happens. And there was a scandal in Boys Town. It was a place in Nebraska called Boys Town where a juvenile, um, you know, uh, children from troubled homes, and I believe like juvenile delinquent. I might be wrong about the juvenile. Basically, it was a place for like foster care boys, and they had several children come out and say that they were involved in alleged molestation at the hands of a politician in the area. He went to jail over other stuff. They basically retracted what they said. And it's like there was this man on his way back. I guess he was a pilot. He was on his way back from supposedly getting pictures, the best, most solid, tangible proof of the abuse at the time. And guess what happened to him? His plane crashed and all of the evidence he had with him disappeared. So people will say Boys Town is a conspiracy theory. It was like three people, I believe, that for years said these politicians would take them, and I don't. I should make a video. There used to be a great documentary on here, and they took it off. It was unaired on PBS because they were going to air it, and then PBS at the last minute was like, "No, they're trying so hard. They've done it for decades to keep the fact that like this is it's sick. It's hard to think about, but it has to be what is going like the most a lot of people, a lot of the most elite people are corrupt PDF files. And if you're not like that, I know it's really hard to wrap your mind around, but it doesn't make any other sense. Apparently, they just didn't like that. What was it, Prince Andrew? They obviously wanted to make an example out of a few people. Sometimes I wonder if Epstein wasn't being made an example, like he didn't get on somebody's bad side. I typically tune into Alex Jones for a couple hours a day for solid and accurate news. Plus, I get to hear tomorrow's news today. I haven't listened to him in so long, Goulash. What do you mean? What happened to me? Hi, Bob Brown. If you're still here, how are you? Juvenile Detention Center, the original clapper said, yeah, I just don't know if it was boys with the criminal or, a past like coming from the criminal courts. I think it might have just been people that were like orphaned. Hollyweird is the same way. Yes, Anthony, most definitely. Yes. And I do believe, and I know this would come off as crazy to people that haven't got it because I used to live like that. I used to think that this was crazy to think that they're performing satanic rituals. They're definitely doing things on purpose and like doing it right in front of us as part of it. And if you didn't know, Hollywood is named after Hollywood, which was like a famous type of wood to make wands out of. Lucky their child, ABU, USEINGing from the top to the bottom, evil everywhere. Yes, Lone Wolf. Such a slap to the face of the victims. Yes, original clapper. I agree. This is the Franklin scandal, Russell Hoffmaster said. Are you talking about that was that the name of the politician I was just talking about? I should know. I was literally just researching this. Well, if it isn't all SSRI drugs, I would admit to you guys if I took SSRIs. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying it's funny that somebody would say that. When I made it clear I take kratom, it does make your pupils smaller. And that's one reason why I say it. I don't know why it would be like such an insult to call somebody medicated in this crazy world. Not many people can get by unmedicated somehow. Even if, you have to have coffee every day, that's still something you're dependent on. Yes, they can get rid of you if you can show they're discussing. Yes, Anthony. What about the Corporation for Public Broadcasting? This documentary for Boys Town was gonna be aired on it, and what was on YouTube for years, I watched it a few times, and of course it's taken down now. And I remember when Biden ran, they took down a lot of the videos where he was sniffing little girls and being creepy with children. Like, it's just so creepy. And children are just looked at as property is less than for like so long, and we think that we're better and like we know better, but really a lot of people, when you think about like these 80-year-old men especially, no offense to older people, I don't mean it like all older people are bad, but when you're in that position of power and you refuse to let your position go, and like you're clearly you're just like yeah, it's evil. I think I remember the video they were going to show on PBS, blah blah said. I wonder if it's still on Rumble. Thank you, Mr. Carey. Nick Bryant has a great book about it. Oh, thank you, Russell. That's what I should do is get a book because, that's the best things we can do. The one of the best things we can do. I know not everybody has the space or can afford it, but to get hard copies of any kind of media, that's one reason why I love my book collection. I got most of these books from Goodwill. Like all these like big reference books. Okay, I didn't get these. This Booner books. He's my favorite herbologist. If you don't know who Booner is, Stephen Booner. But these were from this was from this was from Goodwill. But we just happened when we lived in Florida last, we were blessed to live next to like a book depot. It was a Goodwill that was literally nothing but books. That place was amazing. Um, Witness, finally a streamer that knows how wicked the no-nos are. Yes, and I'll never change. You guys, I learned, and I wish I would have documented this. My last apartment, it's been 10 years, had horrible issues with it, and it was owned by no-no people, but they didn't own it. They called it fundraising. And I've looked this up because our bathroom was raining from the ceiling. Long story short, they would not repair it. The only bathroom in the apartment, black mold was growing. I was desperate. So I looked and saw how their email for the apartment manager was like at da 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 properties.com. So I looked that up. It was separate than the name of the apartment complex, which of course has since changed. And it just makes me wonder how many of the, and this was in Louisville, Kentucky, best price two-bedroom apartment. And I'm okay, maybe I shouldn't say the name of the neighborhood. Give away too much. But a reasonable neighborhood, not fancy at all. And so I found somebody that was like working downtown Louisville at this property management and told her, our apartment, like they won't fix the bathroom. I have children. There's black mold growing now. She literally came to my apartment within hours. She must have gotten in her car almost right away, drove to the apartment, and she didn't even tell me she was coming. It's like she wanted to, I guess catch as much of the truth as she could. I don't know. There was all issues with the guy apart across the hall from me having his security camera facing my door. And anyways, and my peephole had been turned around. And my friend noticed that. My friend came over and she's like, I just looked through your peephole and saw you. I was like, thank God you saw that. So, anyways, this was when I was single for 13 months. And you know what I mean, separated, legally separated from my husband. And Kratom is no good. Yeah, Anons, I don't recommend it. I don't promote it. And thanks for saying that because I should have said that. I usually do. I don't recommend it, especially for every day. I've been saying especially a lot lately. I'm sorry. Forgive me. That's like one of my pet peeves, especially because I had to have a surgery last year and I quit for my surgery. It was so hard to quit. It is very difficult, but now I have 3 hernias and that's not a good reason, but that's my excuse. Kids are innocent forever. They should be innocent. And that's one thing. Oh, hey Tim, how are you doing? I really do thoroughly believe that like we all suffer the more innocence is taken away from children. And people are so I hate to use the term narcissistic, it's overused, but we are like in our own bubbles so much, especially as Americans. I just feel like and we only think about ourselves and our extended family, if that, and it like nothing else matters, that it does affect you, like what happens to other people. Um, no, Witness Me, I don't know what that is. Agitator, I have a few books to read. The past few months, I haven't been able to read. And I'm not an avid reader anymore, but like I got the Jungian Psychology We book. I was so excited about it because I've read He and She a few times throughout my life, and now I'm not reading We, and I've had it for like over a month. Yes, there are so many evil people in power. If you can expose them, they will send you to heaven. I'm from Alabama. Mobile. Oh, that's cool, Anthony. I don't know if I'm saying that right. If you don't mind, let me know if I'm saying Mobile, Alabama. Nonprofits are the worst. Yes, witness me. I never, even if it's like round up and it's like 5 cents, I don't give to, and I used to, I don't say it as much anymore, but I used to like try to give the cashier, whoever is around the information that like hardly, no, I don't want to donate because hardly any of my money will go to that. Thanks, Lone Wolf, for the clover. I'm fine. Keith, hey, how are you doing as you enjoy reading these words? Realize how you just automatically and naturally adapt to improvise to naturally detect, deflect, and disrupt any harmful intentions more with every healing breath. Thanks, Keith. Hey, Chris, how are you doing? It is good. I'm not on opiates anymore. Yeah, Anthony, that is good. Rusty Duckling. Why'd y'all separate? Any wisdom from it? Um, we were just in a really bad place, and we had lived like a hop skipping away from his parents. Honestly, like I'm not going to say his mom was the issue, but she drove a big wedge between us. And then when we spent time apart, we realized we really want to make it work. We got together because I got pregnant on accident the first time. And then we had a second planned kid. And then after we got back together from that separation, we had our last kid. I suggest the collar breathing method and anchoring for long-term pain relief. Collar breathing. I think you've said that before. Yeah. See, I'm not saying like I'm not open to it. I feel like I'm pretty good with the collar breathing method. I really have a lot less pain since my hysterectomy, but unfortunately, it's like when the hernias flare up. If any of you ever had a hernia, it's like some of the worst pain I've ever had in my life. And I never had like endometriosis or fibroids, so I'm not saying, but like I had really bad cycles and excuse me, it's like really horrible period cramps, only it's unrelenting. It doesn't stop. I'm a father of three kids, two girls, one boy. Oh, that's cool, blah blah. You're lucky you got both. Kevin, I remember you. You were in here the other night. How are you? Our shadows is not our enemy, it's our master. It's a part of us, young. Yes, Keith. Very important. Witness, Behold a Pale Horse is a book written by Melvin William Cooper. Do you recommend it? I want to say that sounds familiar, but like Kevin, I'm sorry you think you're too dark or somebody told you that, but I think there's somebody for everyone. Some of the most beautiful people have really dark skin. Keith, really rough right now, just keeping my mind out of bad news from my doctor and my daughters. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Mr. Carey. Mr. Carey, may you just automatically and naturally adapt, improvise, and naturally thrive in positive and not so positive situation more and with every healing breath. And Mr. Carey said, thanks, Keith. Stonegate has three kids also. Is that what you're saying? In-laws be crazy. Luck of the dice. Yeah, we didn't have good communication skills, and we got therapy together and apart. Honestly, we probably should have gotten more. We had premarital therapy too for like 9 months or a year before we even got married. But yeah, Keith, it's only one of the many natural healing methods. Use what your nervous system melts to. Yes, that's good advice. He predicted 911 before it happened. Okay, witness me. Blah blah. See, I'm like you. I don't donate money to people. I do volunteer work for people that are in wheelchairs and make wheelchair ramps for them for free. Oh, that's so nice. Blah blah. I'm sure that you helped and impacted more people's lives than donating a few cents to those big charities. Yep. When we lived in Florida, there was a Susan G. Komen Foundation. It was so close to the beach. Like that has to be so expensive. You don't need to have that office. It wasn't on the beach, but it was close enough that um thank you, Carrie. Have you read Nico? I don't even know how to say that. No, Rusty. Do you recommend that? I feel bad if anybody's tuning in thinking we're gonna I do want to go through my notes. I'm sorry. You guys are so fun in the chat. I do want to just talk about this. May you be blessed and positive and not so positive situation. Oh, thank you, Keith, my strong and resourceful friends. Susan G is the worst offender. Yes, Rusty Duckley. I get my verbal medicine skills mostly. Yeah, that's nice, Keith. Our thoughts are so important. Blah blah. I've been running my own concrete company for 25 years, and I get all the time these people coming and trying to get money from me for donations all the time. And I'm from Manitoba, Canada. Oh, that's so cool. So you're there in Canada now. I'm so dense sometimes. You say I'm from, and then for some reason I thought you might be. That's so neat. Good for you for owning your own company. I posted this video of a man who I guess he's had a trucking company for a while, and he just started a company where he's going to be manufacturing his own semi trucks. And he was tired of um oh, Lewis. I like it when people talk a lot. Like attracts like. And he's manufacturing semi trucks because he was tired of the planned obsolescence. Now, he needed a turn signal changed in one of his trucks, and it was like over $6,000 because it was like built into the whole freaking. And I'm sure most of us have been there before in the last 10 years or so. You like go for a simple car repair, and they tell you it's like several hundred or a few $1,000s, and you're like, why? And it's like, because we have to replace the whole da da da. With if they really cared about the environment, and soon we might all get these stupid carbon tax credits. And I do believe the earth is warming. I just don't think we average people should be paying for it when they just let these industries. Oh, I saw this article. I didn't read it, but it was titled something to the effect of we're hurting the economy not buying new phones every year. Like they just want us to be little consumerists so badly. It It's really sick. Yes, I'm still here in Canada. 25 concrete countertops and more, saving the world one slab at a time. That's so cool. I would like to learn how to do epoxy better. Like I've done little crafts, but I really want to have the nerve to do our countertops because we live in a double wide. So I would like to redo the countertops without paying for new countertops. It's such a cheap house. I don't want to put thousands of dollars into it, you know what I mean? I wanna use the cheapest of everything. That's, just what's already in here. It's kinda stupid to put, nice materials in a double wide, you know? But I'd like to update the kitchen. Okay, I know it sounds dramatic, but really it's w the direction I wanna go with in my channel is, w I think we all feel it in the air. Whatever is going on, things are changing, and we need to, be aware, but at the same time make plans. That's what I was talking about. I know it's out of reach for a lot of people. We couldn't buy solar panels right now, but would if you get a tax return, really think about getting solar panels and an electric generator. You can charge that even through a car cigarette lighter. Now, it takes forever and a day to charge it like that, but it's better than nothing. If we don't have it, that could keep your refrigerator running, your electronics running. It's not going to run um anything that produces heat that long. And I'm talking about oh gosh, I should price check this. Around $500 for the electric generator. Home Depot sells some pretty cheap kits to go in to paint over the same. What kind of are you looking for, but cheaper? Oh yeah, blah blah. I do know that. And I've done enough epoxy. I could show you guys. I've done a lot that it's oh my gosh, one smoking and it burned through the plastic cup. I had one of those big plastic cups from Home Depot. I don't know. I guess to mix paint and that was scary. Thank goodness I was in my garage and I I know I ran over to the door was open and I just let it go in the grass. That was scary because I thought it might blow up because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was like, is this gonna blow? Okay. Because they give you these bottles, but they don't say don't mix too much of it together at once. And I really don't think it was me mixing too quickly. But that rainbow certainly leads to treasure. Oh, yeah, I need to turn my black light on. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I love this thing. Oh no, I can't reach it. Hey, Dance, how are you doing tonight? Thanks for saying I have a beautiful forehead. That's a first. A five head. Ooh, I bet it's nicer than yours. Chemical reaction. Haha, Bubba said. Put a purple heart in the chat to rise Lydia up today. Oh, that's so nice, Keith. So, like I said, everybody's welcome here. There was a second. video, real or a second angle, I should say. If you guys didn't see it, if you're interested in seeing it, Alpha News leaked it, but it wasn't on their YouTube. I guess maybe they put it on X. Everybody had it from Alpha News, a right-leaning news source based in Minnesota. And it does indicate, first of all, I don't want to come off as a person that's going to like call everything fake news, but I've told you guys a lot before that I don't believe anything 100%. I don't think anybody should. And yeah, I do talk kind of funny, super goblin, but I don't have Botox. I just talk funny. I didn't even realize till I started making YouTube videos that my bottom teeth show when I talk. That's how, like, I didn't know that. Like, you don't look at yourself talk in a mirror. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's how my grandma was. But, anyways, so this second video, it does look like the car makes impact, definitely. But um it's just interesting to me how it took so long for it to come out, and then when it does, it shows what is undeniably, okay, yeah, it did make impact, but I still don't think it, and people speculate, nobody knows for sure. There was one bullet hole we saw in the windshield. So this man was from the side shooting her from the side. Whatever you have to say about she was using her vehicle as a weapon, it seemed like to me that they probably were, I don't want to call them paid agitators. I don't know for sure. But it is interesting to me that this woman is described as a writer and a poet, but there was no publications for, like, it didn't seem like she's a paid writer, in my opinion. They're talking about poetry contests she won in college. And it seems to me like I've moved a lot. People think we're like in the military or something when they see how much we've moved. But so I don't want to be suspicious of anybody moving because I've had people ask, like, why do you move so much? When you're not happy somewhere, move. Like, I don't know. My husband's from the other coast of the country. We met in Florida. I do think it's a little weird that they just moved to Minneapolis and then they're taking part in this. Weird doesn't warrant getting shot in the face. Like, so, two things can be true at once. I don't agree with that, Callie. Did they find out why she was even there? Was she impeding a chase by blocking the street? Yeah, Rusty Duckling, it seems like she was trying to do that, and I don't know if she had been doing that several the story is she was already doing this previously. It was 9:40 AM though, so I don't know how long she could have been doing that. And it's just like like I don't know why Christy Nome had to go out there and say that they were stuck in the snow, and then she tried to ram them when they were trying to get their vehicle unstuck from the snow, because that's not at all what happened. If the story is she was agitating them, she had already been doing it. And it still, once again, it still doesn't warrant what happened, in my opinion. And I said from the beginning, one thing we can all take away from this is like to stay away from ice. It's not worth your life, especially if you have small children at home. But like your life matters, whether or not you have small children at home. I don't mean to come off like, but this child is orphaned now. He's already lost his father. And it is something we should all learn from. Like, I feel like we're gonna change this. The only way we can turn this ship around is to be as self-sustainable as possible, vote with your dollar. You going out there and fighting ice in the streets isn't gonna change anything. And I don't mean that to like spit on Renee Nicole Good's grave. I'm saying that as like in honor of her. Like, I don't think she should have gotten shot in the face, but what good can come of that? Um, yeah, these people are a little bloodthirsty. Let's talk about how an ice off-duty ICE agent, unalived, I'm just saying, he killed a man in LA. But this is the story, okay? So, like, we don't know the details, but I think it's another example. If anything, it's definitely an example of how these officers tend to be a little trigger happy. This ICE officer should have called the police when he heard somebody shooting a gun off into the night on New Year's Eve. This just happened this past New Year's Eve. And it was a man named Keith Porter. I guess he had just gotten this new gun. It's illegal to do this. It's a felony in the state of California. I'm sure it's a felony in most states. It could unalive somebody. It could kill somebody. It could hurt somebody very badly. The bullet coming back down. Most people know this. For whatever reason, this man was doing something stupid and illegal, and this off-duty ICE officer grabbed his gun and went. And this is nobody knows for sure. There's no camera footage of this, and this is probably another reason why this ICE officer has went unidentified and uncharged with anything. But in my opinion, it totally sounds like he should have called the cops, where cops would have came in police uniform, If anything, maybe take video to have it as evidence, but like don't confront him with your gun, brandishing your gun, possibly in plain clothes, or did he put his ICE uniform on? I don't know. It wasn't specified. But if he's coming at this man with a gun, it kind of makes sense to me that the man that already has a gun is going to point his gun back at the man that's pointing a gun at him. And this is another reason, like these people, I don't know if they're trained to go take care of a civilian incident like that. So this is something a lot of people, I didn't hear about this until now. And like I said, it was illegal what Keith Porter was doing, but I don't think that it warranted being shot to death. And the more chaos that happens and the more we all freak out about it, the more likely they are to like really enact the most control and do the kind of shit they did like during COVID. Oh, hey, the die is cast. How are you doing? And make like curfews and shit. It doesn't warrant it, but I feel like the situation was a coin flip. Butterfly beats its wings, and she's alive today. No one was in the right. Yes, Rusty Duckling, you're right. I feel the same way that like both sides were wrong. That man put himself in harm's way. Okay, whoever says she was using her car as a weapon, like he literally put himself in the front of her car. He did do that, and he was dragged off last year because he broke a window, stuck his arm in it. I don't know why he couldn't just like take it off. He obviously is like a fucking dog with a bone, like a fucking pit bull or something. Once he latches on, he can't let go. Just seems like a true jackass. And like I said, I know there's good cops and good law enforcement officers, but I feel like ICE potentially attracts the people that wanna take out they know that they're gonna be, in my opinion, able to brutalize people, and they want that. Hi, Jesse Price. There was a pastor who went to protest, and he told a story, and he said, and I'm just gonna say it, he was gay, and there was even all these rainbows behind him in his, like, office or whatever. I think that's awesome that he was a gay pastor, but I just wonder if it played into it, and that they were like, "Are you scared yet?" They detained him, and he was being, like, complying like one should, and then when they let him go, they said, "This isn't gonna be any fun because you're white," and I really don't think that pastor was lying. Do you think there's a lot of racists? Like, I understand. I don't like what happened with immigration for the 100,000th time. Hi, Frog Physics. How are you? But I don't think that it's just like the algorithm, the truth. But I think it doesn't matter as much on lives. It doesn't. I'm sorry. The officer had to make a split-second decision. The chaos caused by good was on purpose. Well, Mayor, I understand, but the officer had to make a split-second decision because he literally walked. He went from one side of her car, walked around to the front, and the officer that was telling her to get the fuck out of the car, like he didn't pull out a gun and fire on her. Like, I really feel like it was chaotic and it was more than in the wrong place at the wrong time. She took certain actions that I wouldn't take. I would have complied. I'm the kind of person, I wouldn't have been perpendicular in the road like that to begin with. And not that I don't believe in peaceful protesting, but and I've done protests. I protested against GMOs. It's just funny to think about now. I did it in Louisville by Burlington Coat Factory, if you know where that's at in Louisville. And, in Florida, I forget some fancy downtown of some place. Um, Beam says, "Wow, my gun safety tip was deleted." There is a video clearly showing her running him down. Beatus, she's running him down because he literally stepped in her path. I'm gonna keep saying the same thing. I think they were both wrong, but he literally she wouldn't have been running him down if he hadn't literally put himself in the path of the vehicle. And we don't know what was before. Are we gonna get more videos from her, like, harassing them for days? I was gonna, like, "Kinda, how are you doing?" I wouldn't doubt it if the second video was AI. Nobody's even brought that up. What if it was AI? Everything's fake news when it comes from, Trump or whatever. The left does that a lot too. whatever anybody doesn't want to believe. I'm just saying I don't believe anything for certain. It would have been nice if they released it yesterday and show his injuries. Did he get some like hematoma from getting hit in the thigh or something because he didn't get knocked off his feet? And how bad could it have been? You shouldn't be literally trying to like stop a moving car. Mm, oh, Jack Johnson. I like screen name. I don't agree with you, but you are sincere in your beliefs. But she created the situation. Yeah, Bob, I do agree. That's what I'm saying. I said it my first video I made, like, we should all stay away from ICE, like, doing what they were trying to do. I don't help anybody, I'm just gonna say it. I do think the immigrants that she was fighting for, they wouldn't do the same for her. That's the thing, you know? I love my immigrant neighbors, but let's be real. They're like in the especially the newer ones, if they've been here for like 20 years, they would probably agree with me. It's like the ones that just came over in like the last 10 years tend to be very like us and them. And it's like they wouldn't be fighting for our rights. They look at it as like, well, this used to be Mexico. And shit. It's like, so it isn't lost upon me. And I don't want to say that and come off as somebody that like hates people and House of all the animals. I remember you. If you rented a cop with your car, you were gonna get shot. She was stupid. Yeah, she shouldn't. And the way that she was sitting there in the other car, I think that silver SUV must have been another ICE vehicle. But it like, you know, they were all like approaching her and it was so weird. Her wife said, "Drive, baby, drive." And she tried to get in the car, the door was locked, if you haven't seen that video. And it's like, I do think that they need to investigate, but they won't figure out were these paid instigators? This woman might still be there for her children for the rest of her life if it wasn't such a thing to be paying people because in this day and age, I want to know what her wife does. I know I'm being nosy, but I just wonder, did her wife have a really good job? The way they said they decided to move to Minnesota wasn't because of a job or somebody's career. And so it's very interesting. And I wonder, I think it goes deep enough that like you know what I'm talking about when I say they planned this all out and like 2 months ago, probably 2 years ago, but you know what I mean. Like 2 months ago, they're like, okay, shit's getting ready to ramp up in Minneapolis. And that's what I'm saying. It's like all comes from the same source. And they're like, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get the conservatives all riled up about the Somalians, and then we're gonna have like another George Floyd type incident and just make them fight and like I I sound really crazy. I don't care. Whoever's meant to hear it will is, gonna be who hears it. I wouldn't doubt it if it's because Minnesota is on like some fucking fault line or something, and it like just goes hand in hand with their satanic rituals. Yes. I saw this thing. I didn't see this video. I've seen the video of Trump talking about how what is it? Miriam Adelson donated $250 million to his campaign, and how she loves the no country more than America, he thinks. That same day, she says Dershowitz told her, and she thinks Trump could run for a third term. And they're just like saying this in a microphone in front of people. I'm sorry, I just saw that. I know that happened a long time ago. And here's the deal: immigrants are here illegally. No matter how you feel about that, we have laws and we're enforcing them. This isn't hard people. Yeah, jab, but like I just think that it's all divide and conquer. They did this on purpose. They opened the borders the way that they did so they could have complete chaos, use hundreds of millions of our tax dollars to fund um bullies, people who like just want to bully like they were probably in high school. Protest for all people, not abstract notions of morality and conflict between people. Yes, Rusty. Liberals mocked Charlie and Erica. Yeah, Cassidy. Well, that doesn't mean you have to stoop to their level. You do whatever you want, Cassidy. I get that, and I said that it was just as evil when people mocked him dying, and so I just think it's a shame when any American is unalive that doesn't need to be. Sorry, I said I was going to say murdered. Why was that woman not with her kids if she was so wonderful? Well, I never said she was wonderful. She didn't have custody of her two older children, and the youngest child, his father died in 2023, so that's sad. But it's all really interesting. I just think try not him being unalived in front of thousands of people like that, and then everything behind it. I'm sorry, I just don't feel like this is gonna be the same kind of impact for as many people. But it's important just to keep note of how Christy Nome said that she had been following ICE officers all day and they were stuck in the snow, and then she came after them, ramming them while they were trying to get their vehicle out of the snow, which was like a complete bald-faced lie. Why would you say that? And when Trump said, maybe they didn't know at the fidget time. When the doctor gives me bad news, I'm going to go for a golf on these shoes. Hey, Leroyd, how are you doing? I almost got run over by the local hoodlums at the park. I stepped out the way because jumping and kicking through the windshield, I couldn't expect the cops to back me up for self-defense. True story. Oh, Move China, that's awful. I think they consider me a Karen slash Kyle nowadays. Most of the youngsters. That's so funny. Oh, GH, you're never going to rescind the right to vote. This is all going to implode upon itself before you take away women's rights. Oh, thank you, Jab. I'm looking at your, here's the deal. Immigrants are here. I already read that. The laws are on the books. They're illegal. Yeah, the illegal ones. I just feel like, hey, Moonshiner, how are you doing? I feel like they're overcorrecting. They didn't have to do it this way. And it was because they knew it would cause chaos. They know people are so divided. There would be people like Renee, and I'm not giving her an excuse. I'm just explaining it. Like if this was 50 years from now in a history book and we're just talking about how it happened, there's people like her that were extremely mad over certain things. And I do think it is see, I don't want to talk ill of a dead woman, but I do think there's something to the way people have been programmed, and it is important to take yourself out of it if you are that emotional. Like we all should be, we should all care about what's going on, but you should never risk your life. That's what I can't help but think, that she was paid, because how could they move there? Who can afford to move nowadays and uproot your whole life? They moved to this neighborhood. This one woman that lives there, I forget her name. She's a lawyer. She has a pretty big channel. The way she talked about the neighborhood was pretty endearing. It kind of sounded like it was probably like the Highlands in Louisville. Like, this really quirky neighborhood full of people who are like activist types. Like I'm sure they all have like the Black Lives Matter, you know, yard signs and shit. And and it sounds like a, place people love to live. And I feel bad for all the people that live there that have absolutely nothing to do with this. My dad was a cop for 33 years and went on ride-alongs all the time. If you ran at him, he was going to hurt you at best. Worse, my dad taught me how to shoot at 700 yards. House of all the animals, that's cool. My stepdad was a cop. Um, Thank you, AB. I think you are right about Minnesota riling everyone up. Yeah, Guinevere, thank you, Mr. Carey. It's really unfortunate. Maybe, like, I don't know what it is about that state. They chose it for, I feel like it's been, like, chosen. I don't know. I feel like everything is planned. You're a bit too charitable to the crazy woman, but you're a nice woman, so it's in your nature. Thank you for saying that, Bob. And just, um, yeah, I wouldn't have been there if I was her, but at the same time, I just don't feel like it's a reason to say she deserved to be executed in the street. We've all done stupid shit in moments where we were like nervous, and that's what I took it for at first. And then when you see the angle where she's like, I'm not mad at you, she's, I don't want to say taunting the cop, but she's clearly not like this nervous, panicked woman. Not to say that she wasn't a little panicked in the moment, but it really showed the perspective of the agitator that had been described before. And her wife, or what, people have said they're not really married. And I'm sorry, I don't like that. I don't like it when people call themselves wives or husbands. Sorry if you do that. Like, I don't like it when people who aren't really married. So I don't know for sure, but she was on the outside of the car. Why did she step out of the car? Why did she even get out of the car? And if Renee was fleeing ICE officers, what was like her, or maybe they were close enough to home for her wife to walk back? Whatever. It's clear. I wouldn't have the nerve to do what they were doing. And we all need to, like, if you have anybody in your life that is very impassioned, tell them, like, it's not, yeah, the ICE officers, instead of being like, "They were right, she was using her vehicle as a weapon," be like, "Yeah, a lot of those guys are fucking crazy. They're looking for a reason to pull the trigger, I think." What about the guy, the Did the guy step outside and think that the guy firing the gun, like, how many times was he firing his gun off into the night anyways? That's just any one of us did it, there would be more involved. But because he was an ICE agent, I don't like how they get this immunity, and I feel like almost things from things that law enforcement officers wouldn't. We owe illegal immigrants nothing, and they need to get out of our country, it is said. Alex thinks I unalived a good one. Oh, I get that pun. Oh my goodness. Charlie wasn't running at a cop. The Nicole chick ran at a cop with a car. I just think they're both sh okay, I'm gonna keep saying it. He put himself in front of her car. I don't think her goal was to try to mow down cops. He was walking around her car. She was trying to get away from the, people beside her, which is wrong. She should have complied, and I'll give you that. But I just don't think that, you know what I mean? Like, you have to, two things can be true at one time. The protocol shouldn't be to shoot her in the face. Hey, Fendi, how are you doing tonight? ICE doesn't enforce traffic laws. They never should have confronted her. But their excuse would be she's impeding their investigation. And it just, I think if you care about yourself and the people that care about you, yeah, like stay the fuck away from ICE. It might sound cold-hearted, but like you going and doing what she did isn't going to stop them from deporting anybody. Unfortunately, it's not. I like to think we could be like Superman in real life, but that's not how it works. And so I think they've like incited this in people. They get them all worked up. The economy is horrible. It's a second Great Depression. It is a recession. It is probably World War III going on right now. Everybody feels it. And a lot of people's way to cope is to try to place the blame, like try to find something to point the finger at. And a lot of people that is, what is the opposite of their political ideology, just like everything is the right or the left's fault. And Fendi, I see a bunch of people on the right and MAGA on social media making light and jokes about this, but bet you're gonna cry. They gonna cry when and become outraged if they bring up something about Kirk. Yeah, right. And then people say it's different because she was trying to mow down a cop, but I still disagree. I don't think that he should have been in front of her vehicle. I don't think that he should have fired shots at her. And I do think that possibly the shot that killed her was what came from the side. So how do you make sense of that? It was just an in the moment thing. And even though it was a split second decision, he still kept firing at her, even though the car was literally going like this past him. That second video, I already said, Fendi, I don't believe it, any of it 100%, and I wouldn't doubt if that video was a little AI enhanced because they realized that so many people were like, and granted, not everybody, I know not everybody, it was pretty divided, but a lot of people were like, "Oh, come on, this was not justifiable," and they're like, "How can we make it justifiable?" I know, we'll have a video that's like that. It was interesting to me that this cop had his phone out. It's almost like he was expecting something to happen. If they had had a few prior run-ins that day, and then he's like, "I'm so sick of this bitch. I'm gonna pull my gun out at her. Whatever happens, happens, and I'm gonna have the proof." I wouldn't doubt it, but I think they were both wrong, and two things can be right. Hi, Shaquille. How are you doing tonight? I'm doing good, Carl. How are you? Everyone has picked their side just like they want. Yes, Turple Nurple. Exactly. I understand both sides. I don't understand cheering on an American citizen. And I'm not saying any of you are cheering on for sharing your opinions. Please don't feel like you can't share your opinion if it's opposite of mine. But the people that are like literally cheering on an American citizen getting shot 3 times in the face in the streets for making a mistake. I'm not saying that she shouldn't have suffered any repercussions from, but I don't think it should have been getting shot in the face. No. And it is sad how that has worked. The divide and conquer, the right versus left. I know you keep on seeing me waving, but I just got to keep on flipping on and off your channel to get the chat to go again. That's all I'm doing. Okay, blah, blah. Eddie said, "Oh my gosh, she wasn't there. It would have not have happened in the 24th place." Yes, Eddie, but like, I just don't think I guess it's where you wanna draw the line. I draw the line at, like, what is justifiable deadly force, from a cop with a gun, and he literally put himself in the car's way. He walked from one side, was on the, front end of her car, and in my opinion, from what I saw, I really don't think. And I know people like have these shots, but you can't see the tires from the his angle. That's like it looks like she's like faced on. But from the behind view, you can see her tires are like pointed like this. And that's why when he did shoot her and he did incapacitate her, she went like this. She didn't continue to roll in their direction. I don't understand why that's so lost upon so many people. I'm sorry, but it's like he was overly excessive. They keep bringing up this other incident of him being dragged. I think that's one of the only legs he has to stand on, really, is like he was traumatized. And like months ago they were hurting themselves. Like, remember that when that one ice guy, I didn't show it, I just talked about it. I know that doesn't mean you remember it. Like, he had a head injury, it looked bad, and it was because they're all so fucking psycho. They, like, jumped on this one guy, and they were beating him, and one of them hit their own, fellow agent in the head really hard, because they're not properly trained, it seems like, in my opinion, and this is all on purpose. Um, get this, you don't have to believe in your screen. Right, original props. That's why I said I don't believe anything 100%, really. I wouldn't doubt if this was all staged, like literally. Compared to how loyalists were treated in 1776, being called a bootlicker is remarkably civil, Seth said. Moonshiner, it doesn't have to be Kirk about Kirk just when the shoe is on the other foot or they're in the crosshairs. Some didn't expect tariffs to affect their businesses until it did, right. Exactly. If he got PTSD, his bitch ass shouldn't have been in front of the car or on duty. Right, Fendi. I don't think. And the way he walked off so cool, calm, and collected and said fucking bitch, that was fucking creepy to me. Okay. How do any of you justify that? You're complete. How much, I'm sorry, how much hate do you have in your heart if you can see that and see him say fucking bitch and not be like upset or something, like not. Fucking creepy. I just hope everybody stays away from ICE agents. Let them do the jobs that they're hired to do. You, as a civilian, can't stop that. As unfortunate as it is, and however much you don't like it, they wouldn't have been on both sides if she wasn't there. She put herself in that situation. Right, Eddie, and I agree, but I don't think that that means like all 100% of the onus is on her. Um, that cop gives gun owners a bad name. Every time I see somebody kill somebody with a gun so fucking haphazardly, I think that's like 1 inch closer for all of us having less Second Amendment rights. Don't you guys feel like it's a little overkill, even if you think she shouldn't have been there? So now it's okay for cops to just shoot people in the face for not being in a place they should have been. That's pretty radical. Like, it really is. And are you a Trump supporter? And did you think that Biden was going to start World War III with Russia? There is nothing to joke about, and I don't think it's making light of things. She used her car as a weapon to hit a police officer, it is said. It's just funny. It's like the same thing over and over. I'm going to keep saying it. The cop that shot at her put himself in harm's way. He literally walked from one side of the car to the other. And you all sound like such puppets. I get it. I get it. You guys think, some of you think that she used her car as a weapon. That still doesn't make it true, no matter how many times you say it. She shouldn't have been not complying. But I really think that if she knew she was going to get shot in the face, she would have stopped that fucking car, you know? Nobody expects to get shot in the face. And she probably, who knows what kind of training she had if she was in this organization that they speculate, which I don't agree with. I don't agree with paid agitators. I don't agree with the divide and conquer, and I think that's a huge part of it. But I don't know for certain what she was, but it doesn't make sense to me after seeing the second video that she wasn't up there to agitate. Because it's one thing to peacefully protest. That's what I participated in, you know? I wouldn't get in the path of law enforcement officers or ICE or any of the sorts. No. It's just interesting to me, like, I feel like this is what happened with Charlie too. It's like, I didn't like that man, so yeah, he's dead, and I was like, just because you don't like somebody doesn't mean that he deserved to be assassinated, and, just because you don't like whatever this woman stood for, her politics, her lesbianism, whatever the fuck it was, doesn't mean that she deserved to be shot in the face 3 times for trying to get away from a cop, okay? I would say that about anybody. And I think it's just it's his job to shoot people in the face. ICE doesn't enforce traffic laws. They never should have confronted her, right, Martin? And I do understand the sentiment of like staying away from them. And if you are impeding on their investigation, there does seem like there should be a protocol with that. Do they call the local cops? I don't know, but like, I can see both sides. If they have to constantly deal with that stuff, that must be annoying, and that's once again, I think it was all designed. I think it was all designed to cause the most chaos on our soil because that's the ultimate goal, and, she got scared, so she got out of her car. That's what everyone does when they're scared in their vehicle. What are you talking about, Jay? Are you talking about the wife? Because the woman that got shot was in the car. Well, wait, if anything can unify us, or what if anything can unify us? I love you all, Purple. Gosh, Nurple, listen to me. Turple Nurple said, I'm sorry. Love you too, Turple. That's really nice. Yeah, and that's what I want to convey more most too, but it's still like it's like we've got to be able to like critically think. I'm not trying to be patronizing here, but just like critically think as much as you wanna root on for ICE deporting people, like, I get it. We moved from the town we used to live in Southern Indiana for 7 years because it was absolutely overrun with immigrants, okay? I didn't like what was going on in that town. It didn't have any much to do with, like, crime. They were good people, hardworking people, but it was so not the same community, and, anybody that has ever lived in a place like that knows what I'm talking about. It doesn't have anything to do with them bringing bad things. It just totally changes the dynamics of your whole community. And it was like literally every single small business was turning into Hispanic ones, which are like good for them, but it just didn't feel like home anymore. I'm fucking a quarter Hispanic myself, but. It wasn't about traffic law, it was about unlawful detainment, David Turk said. Oh, thank you, FD. That's really sweet. The heart of the wise leans to the right, and the heart of the fool leans to the left, House of all the animals said. That's from Psalms. That's funny. I've heard that saying that's like, what is it? Like when you're in college, you lean to, and you think you like have a big heart, you lean to the left. Something about like college age, you usually lean to the left, and you usually start leaning to the right more when you're older. I always say I lean to the right, but I just think it's all so corrupt. It's all the same. Trump has not. Oh my gosh, did you guys see how Theo Vaughn came out against Trump? And I'm not saying he's like lying. I don't watch Theo Vaughn, but Sabby Sabs, I love her. I watch all of her stuff. She's an independent. Gosh, does she consider herself a libertarian? I should know. She played a clip of his, and they showed clips of when Trump was on Theo Von's when he was running this last time, and how he was talking about like making healthcare more affordable and just affordability overall. And it was like, yeah, he did really talk a good game, just like they all do. Did the exact same thing all politicians do. I told my boyfriend that chance is losing my phone, Adam said. I don't know what that means. Hola, Paulo. How are you? Paolo? I don't know, Jose. I don't know how we get to heaven. The chick, the Capitol was attacking Congress people, Martin Rogers. Are you talking about Ashley Babbitt? Yeah, it's interesting. I wonder how many people said that that was a tragedy, which I do think it was a tragedy too. Anybody but it was just more understandable that she was like literally warned and she's breaking into like a government building. And I understand like the hype and everything. She's probably in the same situation. Is Renee good? She didn't really think she was gonna get shot in the face. Didn't she get shot in the face? But anyways, everybody's gonna like pick their sides, and that's why I think it's important just to take the politics out of it. I think a lot of them are ex-military people too, so they should have the training. Yeah, blah blah. They should, yeah, and they probably wanna off people even more. No offense to ex-military people, I don't think they're all like that. Her wife was actually a veteran, she said that to the cop, and she was being, you know, real peacock-like. She's like, "Well, I you go get some lunch, big boy," something like that, and she before that, she's like, "I'm a US Army veteran," or something, and it's like, "This is Revelation 49er said." Original prop sounds like politics a little too cool, calm, collected, but that's MAGA. Jay, the woman that was shot in the Capitol building went through a window. She didn't try ramming a vehicle, Jay said. Yeah, but she was still doing something. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't consider what she was doing ramming. If she really wanted to off some officer, she would have done it. If she was really ramming anybody with this giant third row SUV, somebody would have gotten hurt. That's just my opinion. We're all allowed to have opinions, right? I think it's just interesting how people like jump to, I don't like the riots that have happened, the paid protesters, the people being bussed in, Soros probably, in my opinion, partly behind it. What if these people are getting paid like what most of us struggle to make? You know what I mean? What if they're getting paid like five, $6,000 to have like an okay life where you don't have to work at all and you just get handed several $1,000s a month? And yeah, I just wonder. And then if you're both doing that and you get like, eight, $10,000, $12,000 together, uh, and who even has the energy in them to most of us are just like barely surviving to even be like, yeah, after we drop our kid off at school, we're gonna go agitate ICE. We're gonna show them. And like I said, I don't agree with what ICE is doing, but I really thank you. That's the most common sense thing I've heard in a long time. Stay away from ICE and let them do their jobs. Don't protest against them and don't impede them, Eddie said. Michael, you can be upset about a situation, but you have to respect authority. Martin, ICE doesn't enforce traffic laws. They never should have confronted her. Oh, thank you, Paolo. They had no authority over her, Aaron said. See, it's really interesting. Retaliation is overrated, Original said. She was an agitator, Michael. You can see how mixed people are in the chat. And like that's what they want. And I'm not saying that you guys shouldn't feel however you feel, but it's just really interesting to me. Like things feel different. Like, do you guys feel like that? And I mean, just in the last week or two, like things are different, and like all these heavy things happening in the news is no surprise to me. But let me see. It's really interesting that JD Vance would come out and say, this is what happened when, like, typically, whenever anything else like this is going on, they would say it's under investigation. We have no other statements right now. But the way they're just like, this is what happened without the investigation even being complete. Um, I just think that's really interesting. Trump increased the military budget $1.5 billion. I guess I said everything in my notes. They are being excessively brutal to teach us submission. Aces, I do agree with that. Thank you for making that point, Aces. That is something that I didn't really express. I totally feel like that too. They're doing this so they can cause us more and more shit is going to happen like this, and it's going to ramp up more and more to the point where we all have martial law in our streets, even the small Kentucky town and shit. And like that's what I worry about. We have like curfews. Things have been so different since COVID. It's so like, as somebody that when I do work, I work second shift usually. I can't stand how Walmart isn't open past 11 anymore. Remember the good old days when Walmart was open 24/7? House of all the animals, nope. Ask your stepdad if you are under investigation and the officer is trying to detain you, and as he is in the process of trying to stop you and you keep driving, he steps in front to stop you dead. Yeah, I would wonder what he would say about this. They're all gonna stick up for each other, the former cops. That's one reason why the corruption is as bad as it is. When there's a bad guy doing bad things, the other good men around him don't call it out. Not often enough. And so yeah, I'm gonna make an edited video about it. But if you didn't know, it is like disturbing how many pictures there are of Epstein with small children on his lap. If you were like Megan Kelly, you were one of those people that like turned the other way. It wasn't that bad because they were all teenage girls and they weren't young kids. They were like teenagers. It wasn't like little kids or anything. Oh, yes, it absolutely was, in my opinion. There's so many pictures, and some of these pictures, the kids are asleep, or I hope that's what's going on. I hope they're asleep. And like laying in his arms, sitting on his lap on his private jet. And this is the kind of shit that's what people should be in the streets protesting about. Like if only people were as passionate about the safety of children. as the people who willingly came here and knew what they were doing, not taking the necessary steps to make it as legal as possible. It really sucks. That's what it's come to. And that's how, kind of how I look at it, like the cop months earlier was dragged by a car for yards. Yeah, Michael, I saw that. Jay doesn't feel bad for it all. Um, Cop should have learned not to be in front of cars. Yeah, Martin, I agree. I'm sure protocol isn't if you think a car is about to leave, put your body in front of the moving path. And any of you who think she was using it as a weapon, so he put himself in front of the weapon, okay? Just like she did. They both put each other in front of weapons. And yeah, I think both were a little too aggressive. But that's why I comply with people, especially in positions of authority with guns. Charlie Kirk was an entirely different situation. The two things are incomparable. Both people getting killed and then somebody celebrating it is what is creepy. It is. And she was with a woman, Martin. She's like, they keep calling her a wife. The last partner she had was a woman. So, but she was a mother that had been with two husbands prior, or at least married once. She had two different fathers over three children, not cops, not traffic cops, federal agents, John said. Original said no one's right, but I think we can all agree killing people just because is wrong. Yes, original, exactly. They are cops, Reggie said. Miles for meals. The cop didn't even drop his phone. His life wasn't in danger. Yeah, that's a good point, Miles. And I kind of wonder why he had his phone out in the first place? And I'm not saying this like in refusal to believe it. I just think it could have been doctored. And all the AI and stuff we have, you don't think they could have doctored that because it was but at the same time, like, yeah, he didn't drop his phone. He didn't get pushed to the ground. Worst thing that could have happened was he was bruised because he literally put himself in the path of her car. And I understand that she shouldn't have been not complying with them. But it's like, this is why they want our attention spans as short as a 5-second TikTok, because they want people to be able to not even like consider the nuances and think of all the nuances and think of how like retarded most of the stuff they try to brainwash us with really is. It is possible to reach a consensus on differing viewpoints, provided that individuals refrain from imposing their personal beliefs onto others. Yeah, well, that's really hard, Money Vegas. How are you doing, Money Vegas? All I have to say is, can you please give your dog a treat for me when you see him? Okay, boxing. Overkill is literally an understatement here. American lives and its principles are under attack. Freedom for all, Moonshiner said. Mark is pro ice. I just I don't I don't like people feeling scared. I don't like people who are here legally and have brown skin feeling scared because of ICE. And they are profiling people. They are doing that. They've detained plenty of American citizens as well. Um, it's alienating, is what you're saying, the Steel Crusader said. Martin Rogers, ICE are racist fools. I think a lot of them are. I don't want to say absolutely all, but I do think that it attracts that. We're all human beings. Stop judging people, original prop said. Reggie said, ice, ice, baby. Blah. I would take the Spanish people and Spanish people in Canada. You guys can switch with us and take all of. I don't know if that's a slur. Pack. The Steel Crusader just calling Mexicans. Well, there's all sorts of people, though. It's not just people from Mexico. Shit, people from like China walked across the border too. You guys know that. Like, it wasn't just people from even South and Central America. The way they opened their borders, they were letting all sorts of people. I knew me and my your wife live in Michigan. It feels like the illegals are everywhere, Mark said. I've always leaned to the right. Yes, Mark, me too. And it is. It, that's one reason I like it here, but there's not that many jobs. There's not that much going on. But that's one reason it's like I don't think it will ever be overtaken. And then the towns where there are more factories, yeah, there are more immigrants. I don't know if they're illegal. I do know that like the same thing happens every several years at Walmart. They like will literally bus people in by the busload. And then they're like, oh, they have dead people's social security numbers. We have to fire all of them. And in my opinion, that's this system they know that they keep perpetuating because they know, it's cheaper for them. And Mark, are you Native American or child of immigrants? Martin said. Mark said, I voted for Reagan and Trump. Um, that's a cute little heart, Shaquille. Mark, are you Native American or child? Oh, I read that. You repeat yourself. No, I was born in Detroit in 65. I'm a man that loves my country, but I put Jesus first. That's nice, Mark. Um, how does it feel to be a two-time loser? Well, that's not very nice, Michael. You're not a loser because you supported anybody for president. I don't care who it was. What do you mean two-time loser? In 84, Reagan got 49 states, Mark said. Oh, coming up with the facts. Reagan is a horrible person. I don't know that much about Reagan. I used to follow Mr. Reagan for a while, and he doesn't ever talk about Reagan, but I don't know that much about Reagan. But I do know the people that I like usually don't like him. But or either or they like really like him. It seems like a lot of independents aren't are like lukewarm about him. And so did Biden, Mark said. His body cam came out, he was hit. Yeah, Larry, he was holding his phone, and like somebody mentioned earlier in this chat, he didn't drop his phone. I mean, it does look like he was hit by the car. He was jostled because he literally walked in front of it. But you can have your own opinion. Love you, Shaquille. Whatever you want. Former military are trained to simply delete, not negotiate. I do not negotiate with terrorists, neither foreign nor domestic. Yeah, that's interesting, House of all the animals. Yeah, and I don't want to make it like every vet at all. I just know some people I went to school with, and no, nobody it was just seemingly changed by the military, like really changed. And yeah, Mark isn't going to give out his address. Shaquille said, "Thank you, everyone." Um, we had a few mods in here, but it's over an hour into it. It's getting late. They agitate so much, they change their license plates every day. Oh, yeah, social media. Are you talking about how her wife said that thing about he walked around to the car to get the license plate? This is how much, it's just like when you just really take it all in from the perspective of like, this is what happened. Imagine you're there. He walks around to the back of her car. He starts walking around, to the other side. And like this whole time, I don't think like, she feels really pressured to get out of her car. Of course, I'm just speculating. It's complete speculation. And then, or was that guy already yelling, get the fuck out of your car? Her girlfriend says to the guy that's filming the license plate, it'll be the same plate later today. It's not like we change our plates every morning. And I almost took like that. Was she being sarcastic? Was she saying that in a sarcastic way? But why would she say that? Because that would be illegal for them to be switching up their plates, right? Unless they had an out of state plate, if they had like a temporary plate, you know what I mean? Like that would be the one situation I could think where it wouldn't be straight up like illegal to put another car's plates on your car. Anyways, this is where my mind goes. I'm just like, I think of all the possibilities. Like, I totally think that she shouldn't have been there. I do, but that doesn't mean that she deserved to get shot in the face? And this is how these slippery slopes start, where it's like, um, I'm getting caught up. Hey, she should not have been shot. Yeah, Michael. What would the ICE officer gave Miss Good a handgun and had someone firing back at him? Hi, bad boy. How are you if you're still in here? There's no way she's the victim. He shot her, the cop. My father has been a cop for 35 years and then a detective, and he even said they weren't trained like that. That man wasn't properly trained, Kathy said. Kathy, that's so neat. My stepdad was a cop. ICE doesn't enforce traffic laws, Martin said. I'm sorry, you're totally wrong, and I would protest, keep protesting, and keep raising our voices. That's what we need to do, Kathy said. You're saying I'm wrong? How did it get to this point, though? Ask yourself that. Yeah, it's just like I don't think she should have gotten shot at all. I think that cop was wrong. The ICE agent, I think he was wrong. And I understand. It's like so divisive. I do understand why people are like, she shouldn't have been moving her vehicle at all. She should have stopped the car. And like a cop would have been trained and would have said, like, I'm not saying that the choice of words would have mattered, but instead of saying, get the fuck out of the car, would have been like, ma'am, turn your car off now. You know what I mean? Instead of like the way that it was handled was like so chaotic. And who knows what the heck she was trained. And once again, that doesn't make it right, but she was supposedly part of an organization. Hi, Javier. Do you see that disgusting things people are writing that they don't care about that girl at all, but they care about somebody like Charlie Cook? Are you fucking kidding me? Kathy said. Yeah, I understand that, Kathy. Hi, Benister. Hi, Amp. Is today really your birthday? Anyone feeling generous, even a dollar is greatly appreciated. Oh, Amp, I wish I had money to give to you, but I have none. Um, I don't have a uterus, Ant Dog. I got a hysterectomy last year. Hey, Lydia, did you hear about how some Americans were getting their passports canceled while they were out of the country and having to pay 300 for an emergency passport, pretty much extortion for more money? That is such bullshit, Fendi. No, I did not hear about that. Shaquille, America is, I feel like I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I hate to be so pessimistic, but I'm like, were we lied to so much? I think it is good. I think it used to be a lot better for sure, but now I'm starting to think, was it ever as good as I thought it was? You know what I mean? Um, Ant Dog, no, no CPS has not taken any children here. Quasi protest for thousands ends with king's heads on. So if you're not doing that, what's the point? Yeah, Kazi, I know what you mean. It's like, unless we're gonna take it to like French Revolution style, you can't interfere with a government agent performing government duties. I understand that growing, but I still don't think that she deserved to get shot in the face. I know I'm saying the same thing over and over, like Martin. Aunt Dog, you're being a silly troll. All my children, I don't talk about my children, but none of them have gotten taken away from CPS by CPS. Um, the lesbian is reunited with George Fent Floyd. I couldn't imagine, like, is your whole life just like a South Park episode? Or like everything is like an animated joke to you? I really couldn't imagine having such a simple mind. Martin, she really was with a woman. There's a lot by Shaquille, a lot of women, I should say a lot of women. It happens sometimes. Sometimes women have families with men and then you know, I think it's men's fault. I think it's the same reason why when a woman gets widowed, she's less likely to remarry. And when a man is widowed, he is more likely to remarry within 2 years. And it's because we just get sick of your shit. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, I totally understand why, after having children, some women decide to have a female companion. Photoshop is better than any AI, which is very possible. And it's easy to cut clips out of videos. Derealization said. A murderer is a murderer, Michael said. At least she has a clear head now. Okay, Aaron, I'm not going to read your comments anymore. Tyler said, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son, but whoever believes in him should not perish, but have eternal life. John 3:16. I am 38, Rare, if you're still in here. Am I really that behind? What are your thoughts on Renee, the woman in Minneapolis with the car? Well, Danny, my thoughts are, I think that she shouldn't have been there and she should have complied, but it didn't warrant her getting shot in the face 3 times. I do think it seems like she was probably there to agitate, but I still don't think she deserved to be shot in the face. So people put themselves in harm's way and we are supposed to feel sorry for them. I just think it gives too much leeway to people who are trigger happy. You know, she didn't deserve to get shot in the face 3 times. No, it's not the protocol. And anybody that thinks that she was using her car as a weapon, can you explain to me why she didn't hurt anybody with it? Because if she was ramming the officers, why did her car go 180 degrees the other way and ram into like other cars when she lost control of it? Well, if it's getting late, I'm gonna hit the hay, y'all. Y'all have a great weekend. You too, Moonshiner. Good night. I hope you sleep well. Um, she did. It hit him. Once again, he was literally walking around the front of her car. He put himself there. She was turning the wheels this way, and he was holding a phone, and he didn't even drop on the ground. So if somebody hits you with a car but doesn't knock you off the ground, doesn't seriously injure you, you can shoot them in the face 3 times. If you're evading law enforcement, they can shoot you in the face 3 times. An officer does not need to be injured to use deadly force. Right, he just needs to feel like his life is threatened. Santini, you can think I'm stupid all you want. I don't care. Go make your own YouTube channel and make your own videos and have people listen to you talk. David, he was limping afterwards and he was boxing. I didn't see him limping, David. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I did not see that. I saw him coolly walking away. And the way he said fucking bitch was kind of telling. It wasn't like if I was in fear for my life, I mean the adrenaline, who knows what you would say. I'm not gonna say what I would say in that situation. But I feel like he's a cold-hearted killer. I do. I don't and it's kind of creepy. I'm just gonna say the more people insist on like, he was right, she shouldn't have been there. You're letting them win. You're letting the divide and conquer win. You're not a patriot if you aren't a little disturbed by that. That doesn't mean that you don't think that what she did was wrong. Like, I can think that. She shouldn't have been there. She shouldn't have been agitating. She shouldn't have taken it upon herself to be like that in the street with her vehicle like that. I think there's a lot more to the story that we're never going to find out. But if it doesn't disturb you that this is how it played out, then you're part of the problem. Okay. I'm just gonna say you're allowed to have your but if like you're like the putting 10 toes down that like, oh yeah, he was justified and it's not a little creepy to you. And you don't see the nuances in the situation that he literally was walking in front of her car. If he was in fear of his life, why would he put himself in front of her car? Why, when he incapacitated her, didn't she hurt him worse? Because the wheels were literally turned this way. She hit him because he literally was, like, getting as close to the front of her car as he could, and I don't think that she should have been there. She should have been driving a car. I don't think that she deserved 3 shots in the face. See, there's, like, nuances to the situation, and when you are, like, so evil to, like, celebrate Charlie Kirk being killed, like I said, that was evil. I like see like it's freaking good versus evil all the time. And that's why it's like the end of the world. Things are obviously on their way out. And you can thumbs down my stream all the fuck you want. I don't care. Thumbs it down. Thumbs it down more. Thumbs it down even more because that's more engagement for my channel. It's all a thumbs up in the algorithm. Guys are so fucking stupid. I'm sorry, it's so overly emotional the way that people get whenever it's like right versus left, just like Adam Mockler. It was a right wing school shooting. He made a video on it. I have a shorts on it. I'm like, what? We're gonna call school shootings right or left? And that's what people are dealing with this. It's a lefty being shot in the face. So who the fuck cares? They're taking the humanity away from people from you. That's fucked up. If you don't understand a woman getting shot in the face 3 times for evading ICE, which she's probably been told by the stupid things she's probably a part of that they don't have the same jurisdiction as law enforcement officers and they can't detain you or da 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 if you're an American citizen. But then again, it's like, of course, they have to verify that. I'm not making excuses. I'm saying if you aren't a little disturbed, this is happening on American soil, and that guy was like so quick. Like, I'm sorry, he put himself in front of her car. He says, "Stop the car." He literally pulled the car over, told them to get out of the vehicle. They did not listen. Then they decided. I didn't see anybody pull a car over. I saw a woman like this, and then this guy walked from one side to the other, and like, he had plenty of time not to get anywhere near where she could have been ramming in his path. So she was damaging other people's property and the officer shouldn't stop her. She got what she asked for. House of all the animals. How is she damaging other people's property though? I didn't catch that. See what I mean? Like, I'm saying she shouldn't have been there, but I don't think she should have been shot in the face. And it's like annoying people that I'm saying she shouldn't have been shot in the face for what she did. If that was anybody that you cared about, if that was Ashley, can I ask you, House of the Animals, did you think that Ashley Babbitt shouldn't, Bobbitt, whatever the fuck her name was, do you think she shouldn't have been shot or do you think that was fair? No, I have not been to Dubai, Kai. It was a tap, not hit. I agree, FD. And it's just, I'm sorry, it's just, I want to live and let live. Everybody's allowed to have their own opinions, but she was the problem. Officer dispatched the problem because problem did not want to comply. Problem then attempts to flee by driving straight into the officer who previously had a similar event happen. Dispatched the problem. Are you talking about killing her? Do you guys not understand? If she was a threat and he shot her and incapacitated her, why didn't she go more in the direction of where she was ramming? So she was ramming to the right. Her wheels were turned to the right. That's why when she got shot in the face, she kept going to the right. You're making me stand up for the person that I said originally she shouldn't have been there. No, I don't think that she shouldn't have not complied. And this is a lesson for everybody to learn that, like, if you are around ICE, comply. You shouldn't lose your life. Your child shouldn't be orphaned because of it. But if you can't understand the nuance and it like makes you mad that a person on YouTube with the millions of channels on YouTube is saying that, yeah, I don't think she should have been shot in the face. I don't think she should have been there. And I think you're a creep if you are a little disturbed that this happened. I do. I think you're a creep. Have you thought about how he was walking to the other ICE agents calm and not limping? Yeah, Michael, that's what I said. I didn't see him limp. Oh my God, once again, she drove at him because he was in front of her vehicle, Kenny. He literally walked in front of the vehicle. He was on one side, looked at her license plate, walked right again to the front with his phone out, almost like he was expecting something to happen, almost like he wanted his own viewpoint because he knew he didn't have a body cam on. Does that not ring a little suspicious to any of you guys? Once again, you make me stick up for the lefty, political pro paid agitator. I don't want to stick up for those people either. Soros funded bullshit. I don't get shit handed to me. We had a waiver for one of our kids, and that was like about the only government benefits we ever got, and that was amazing. A Medicaid thing. As a Rochester native, it's fucked up how much hate this has gotten for our state's a community. By the way, Rochester, Minnesota is in southeast Minnesota, and Olmsted County, home of the Mayo Clinic. Okay, my dog is a good boy. Do you have a channel? And I'm sorry to hear that. I would have assumed you were talking about New York, you know. I bet there was a lot of Rochesters. But thank you for saying that. And I feel the same way. And then I'm being a bitch too, you know what I mean? Um Charlie Kirk was a victim. Yes, and I think that is creepy that anybody celebrated him dying, even though I didn't like him. Same thing with Renee Good. I don't like what she was doing. I think it's creepy that anybody's celebrating somebody getting shot in the face 3 times. That's not protocol. What if somebody else died? If somebody else would have died from her vehicle going all willy nilly into some other vehicle, would you then see what the ICE officer did as like wrong? Would you understand then? That you don't just shoot at people driving vehicles 3 times for a reason. He wasn't in fear of his life. You're making excuses for somebody. Keep thumbing it down. I don't fucking care. Keep thumbing it down. Unless I literally get more thumbs down than thumbs up, I don't think there's enough babies for that. That's what I'm saying. Like, you guys, if you can't handle somebody saying she shouldn't have gotten shot in the face, even though she was in the wrong for not complying with officers, somebody else could have gotten killed. What if her dog in the back got killed? They had a dog with her. I know a lot of you probably care more about that dog than her. Let's be real. Fine, that's fine. I think it's fucking weird too, but you're entitled to that. I think that's the problem with the world. A lot of people care more about dogs than people. Well, you child-free people think you can go to a fucking Lego theme park and you bitch about kids being there and getting in your photo op away. It's fucking bizarre. Implode. Implode and renew upon yourself. Earth, please, sooner than later, because the shit has got to go. Yes, Epstein files, there's a distraction, and I totally believe that this is like a big part of it. But in the people that are like Renee Good, either want to go like like try to impede people with guns investigations, and the people that like oppose her so strongly and are like fucking like I don't know, it seriously is like you're going for blood, like you just can't. It's weird to me. We can't sit and have a conversation without people being like, you have to think this. And that's what I thought that the left snowflakes were like for years. And people on the right were always like, oh my God, they just think everybody has to think like them. They're the most intolerant people when you don't think exactly like them. And all they do is preach tolerance. And now it's like, I thought that the people on the right were like more reasonable. I remember even people on the left saying, like, yeah, the people on the right, they really are like more reasonable overall. And now it's like everything's going to shit. Everybody sucks. Everybody sucks. I'm sorry. It does. Christians are extremists. I didn't realize how many of my Christian neighbors were really like the bad kind. I didn't realize how many white supremacists there were. I didn't realize quite how many pedophiles there were. But maybe she should have just complied for fuck's sake. She was already detained the moment the truck lights were on. That's how any and all traffic stops work. When you are pulled over, you are technically detained. XX said. Truck lights. I didn't see any truck lights XX. That's interesting. I didn't hear any radios. Like usually, they'd be like, "Wah, wah," or you know what I mean? Hey, maybe their children will go back to the better parent, the father. That child doesn't have a father, though. House of all the animals. The child's father died, and the child is orphaned now. And I know that was her choice, honestly. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, but it still didn't have to happen. It can still be equally wrong. I'm not saying it's equally, but I'm saying I think it's wrong from both sides. She shouldn't have been there. He shouldn't have shot her in the face. He kept shooting at her when she's like driving by him. I don't know how that is him being in fear for her life. And then like one person, I don't think they're a ballistics expert, but it's the only YouTuber I saw that talked about ballistics, and that's what they said, that one bullet hole, remember when I held up my incense box? Well, you might not have seen it, but that one bullet hole that was like low in like very low in the left side, um, it's more possible one from the side. This is pure speculation. I'm not an expert. I'm not giving any expert advice or anything. The one of the ones that got her from the side is what killed her. So that's also something that could matter. But then again, people probably he was in fear for his life. Wasn't in fear for his life when he stepped in front of a fucking Honda Pilot and he literally put his body in the moving car's path. Um, I'm sure that's not the protocol. It's not the lights were on, so now we can do whatever the fuck we want and encircle her car with our bodies and like, literally step right in front of thank you, Frog Physics. I got it from Amazon. Um did the dog get hurt? I have not heard that 110 Solutions. I'm assuming no, or else we probably would have heard. You know what I mean? I'm sure people would have, like, I'm glad it didn't, but I'm just sure people would have been raising a fuss about that if the dog got hurt. You know what I mean? A lot of dogs are better than a lot of people, it is said. And I do think what happens with animals, I do, think animals need to be treated well, but I just think it's interesting that I just put humans before animals. But that's a whole other conversation. Federal officer overstepping his bounds with no training with too much authority. Yeah, I agree, AJ. Leo said, do your homework. Revoke dual citizenship. Why would we want to revoke dual citizenship though, FD? I just don't know. I'm not on the right or the left. I'm an independent. Me too, Canadians. Canadians. All day she was harassing the federal officers. It was 9:40 a.m. So and I had heard that too, but then when I heard it was 9:40 AM, I'm like, why is the narrative hours before she was agitating? All day. It was 9:40 AM. But I'm not saying that she hadn't been. So she dropped her kid off for school. Most schools start around like 8 to 8:30, right? 8:15, 8:30. That's what I was saying. Like, I don't think she had just dropped her kid off for school either at 9:40. No, Harrison, I'm not insane, but this world is really insane. And if anybody thinks that they're right all the time about anything, I mean, I don't think I'm right, but this is all unfolding in front of us. And I think it's the beginning of like civil war, World War III. I'm getting tongue-tied. Good makes her sound good. The financial psyop guy was named Moneybags or something money like the names always sound sus. Park, that's a really interesting point. Um, Shaw to the T, whatever happened to the horse guy? Oh, Titus is having a baby next month, and maybe I'll make some videos about him after they have their baby. I just don't want to stress out his wife because I'm a better person than they are. Because I'm a better Christian than most Christians. I really genuinely do unto others. What is political and weird is letting criminal acts getting in the way of about raising taxes. What's the point of raising minimum wage when they want to raise more taxes? Yeah, Eugene. I just think, once again, controlled demolition. Trump walked into something that was unsustainable. So I don't like a lot of the shit he does, but I just don't think that there was any getting out of this. There are lights on the truck from the point of view of the video showing the officers approaching her SUV. Okay, XX. I need to look for that. The lights are on and the agents are clearly identifiable and have given verbal warning multiple times for her to move because she is intentionally impeding investigations. Yeah, I saw that XX. I still don't think she should have been shot in the face. AJ said modern day Gestapo. And I understand that sentiment, but I also understand when people are like, oh, that's like, a little too much. Witness, Ryan, do you think you're helping your country talking like that? I guess his messages got deleted, right? No trained officer in America would go in front of a moving vehicle. Yeah, the dog is fine, XX said. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, we'd hear if it wasn't. Um, Jack. Cops these days know they can apprehend a suspect later instead of putting their own and others' lives in danger. Yeah, BBG, right? I think that in my opinion, it did seem like he was like really fed up with her, and that's why he got his phone out. Why was he recording with his phone if he wasn't expecting something to happen? This doesn't mean she didn't do anything wrong. It's like, this is why, like, we need to be able to think about the nuances of every situation we're presented with. And just keep in mind, like, they want you to feel so strongly about one side or the other that you cheer on people dying, people getting shot in the face. Um, he said, "Get out," and she was fleeing and drove at a federal officer. Oh gosh, I need to get off of here. So, okay, so Kenny, why didn't her vehicle hit an officer if she was driving at an officer? And I don't mean tap him at a point where he goes like this. And I don't even know if I believe that 100%. I don't believe anything 100%. It's just interesting to me that it comes out late the next day, that or in the middle of the next day, that she really did hit him. See, you can tell he didn't fall to the ground. He doesn't have any photographed injuries to show, at least. uh, um, yeah. He put himself in front of the car, or she wouldn't have be the voice of the Iranian people. They have been blacked out. Uh, yeah, that's another thing. Everybody talks about how people are cheering in Venezuela, but I can't talk. They were cheering in Afghanistan too. Talking about indoctrinating your own country, Emerald protesting for what they and for darkness. That's a weird comment, Eugene. Yeah, I don't think that she should have been there. I don't think she should have been blocking them, but I don't think that she should have gotten shot in the face. I'm just going to keep saying that. They are not cops, Kingsway said. Free Palestine, Dead Man Walking said. Humans before animals is the only right, Kevin said. Eugene, I don't know, but this debate is getting good. Too many people have been using cars as weapons. Yeah, but that's another reason why he shouldn't have been anywhere near the front of it. She wasn't literally like a bowling ball aiming for bowling pins. This cop was like putting himself in harm's way. So I don't think that she should have gotten, don't think she should have tried to evade him. I don't think she should have gotten shot in the face. I think they want us to think it's so like black and white and you get in that state of like reacting and you're like hypersensitive to everything and then you just like can't even think as reasonable just like I got and like "Ugh." And some of y'all are like that all the time. You don't mess with the feds, you move out of the way. Right, Alvin, I agree, but I still don't think that it warrants getting shot 3 times in the face. And notice how none of the other cops did it. Well, none of them put themselves literally at the front of a big SUV. Talk about suffering country under virus vaccine. What's the point of raising minimum wage and the raising your taxes? Eugene, are you a bot? And the Grand Wizard's Youth won't you as a model for new commercial. Okay. Wow, these comments. Alrighty, I'm gonna get to the end and then I think I'm going to say good night. Ain't deporting me, I'm white, Alvin said. Matthew, no, I have a septic system. I'm not gonna dye my hair because I don't care what anybody thinks about my white hair. Look at my hair. Look how beautiful my hair is. I don't give a fuck if any of you think I need to have it all the same color. My hair is so nice and healthy right now. No split ends. I'm not putting dye on this so I can appease the male gaze a little bit more because it's always a man. It's never a woman. It's always a man telling me about copper. Copper makes your white hair go away. Copper supplement, copper supplement. And I've had other people talk about me dyeing my hair. When you should just be complimenting me on it because it's beautiful. Bongs are for Muppets. You create some excellent points, but we're still being lied to. That's why 1010 is retiring. They should give you the beginning of what's going on. 1010 is retiring. I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know if you're a bot or not, Eugene. Hi, Jerry Jones. How are you? No, no LF. BBG. Don't women that have OF, don't they let it be known? I know you're not literally allowed to advertise it, like, on YouTube, but don't they aren't you, like, aware of their OF if they have one? You know what I mean? Most people that have that don't do it in secret. You can see in his own cell phone video that she turned the steering wheel all the way to the right in front of the cop before the car accelerated, and the cop does not move, and she's not trained. Yeah, BBG, I agree. You can see her wheels are turned like that from the shot that we were first shown, and, Yeah, she wouldn't have bumped him at all. I still am not convinced that that footage of him being bumped, is like legit. Thank you, Christian. He was never right. 2 weeks corrected for the future. Okay. What's important? Blunt wraps or food, Chad? Oh gosh. Food. They were standing back and standing by for this moment, Kingsway said. Yeah, I agree. Are you saying I look like Alanis Morissette? It's so funny the shit you guys come up with. I know I don't look like Alanis Morissette. I know I don't look like Emily Blunt. Like, I looked up Emily Blunt the other night and like, okay, that had to have been a troll. Anyways, there shouldn't be a problem with hair dye that hasn't been tested on animals first. Um, no, I think all hair dye is pretty bad, especially the dark dye. Did you guys know it's like harder on you to dye your hair with dark pigments than it is to bleach it blonde? And you can form allergies to hair dye. Darker dye is the worst. You don't want to dye your hair over and over and over. At least I don't. And you do you. If I was gonna put color on it, I try to make it henna. But then I try to get a good kind of henna before, and it's like so much henna has bad. People say it has lead in it and stuff. Them lesbian chicks thought they were men and put themselves in harm's way against people who are heavily armed. How stupid are these people? Yeah, witness me. I think that they might have been being paid, and I'm not saying that as an excuse. And just thinking about what were these two women doing there? Who has the time anymore in the middle of the day? Neither of you have to go to work. No job has been mentioned. I'm so sorry, excuse me. She was like she says she was a professional writer and poet, but then if she was really like a paid if that was her career, I think that they would have had like she wrote for this publication and that. I do. And this is all like where my mind goes. I still don't think she deserved to be shot 3 times in the face though. Exactly right, Mickey. You tried to buy into nothing like AI. I keep reading your comments. The internet is shut down in Iran so that people cannot be heard. The silence is forced. Please speak for them and keep attention on Iran. Okay, Nick. Well, I'm glad you told me that when you said blackout, I should have asked. The internet is out. That sucks. The internet is out in Iran, everybody. I don't know if anybody knows anything about that, but let me know. Keith, thank you. Lydia, have a blessed life more with every healing breath. Yes, and yes. Soros, yeah, witness me. I know. I said that earlier. He funds a lot of these paid buses people in and causes chaos, the kind of chaos that's going to get, no matter what you think, no matter who you agree with, it will affect you one day when they bring martial law to all of our streets, when they're just like going around asking everybody for their papers. And if you don't happen to have your ID on you, you get detained for days or weeks or months. And just then maybe will some of y'all care about the way ICE is acting? Because I didn't like immigration in the last several years either. I have like a 6 or 7 year old video on my channel about immigration, illegal immigration. The National Guard will be ready. I don't have anything to make a drink with for martial law very soon, Kingsway said. Yeah, I agree. Salsa pepper, if you're saying yes, you did to like a job or something, will you tell me what it is? Because I'm just interested. I looked it up. I didn't see any proof of they both said they moved to Minnesota recently, and it sounded like very recently, like in the last few weeks or months. And usually when people move, moving is expensive. It is so who can afford to move? You have to have thousands of dollars, you know what I mean? Thousands of dollars for a deposit in first months and or to buy a house and whatever you're doing, like you have to have thousands. So anyways, just wonder, if neither of them were the new okay. Oh my God. Some weird comments. The internet is out in Iran and the state TV is broadcasting Tucker Carlson. What does that tell you? The no people? BBG? Does that make sense? Okay. Nothing like AI is real, and I try to lay you from the truth, Eugene said. I think you're AI, Eugene. Okay. And they stink, Alvin said. Fascists. They did this in Germany too. Yeah, whatever's going on, I don't think it's gonna end well for anybody but the billionaires in their bunkers. But I shouldn't say that. I think there will be people that are still surviving, just like the Amish people we live near. People that can hunt and live without air conditioning, and there's plenty of us that can do all that, right? Although it will be harder now with the we have, the forest is like our backyard. It's a little, I wouldn't have put this double wide as close to the forest as they did, but it is kind of helpful because it's always 10 degrees cooler. At least if you've got trees. Good night and good debate that answers in the question, but then itself under which they try to lie, as Eugene said. This AI is getting good. Sing us a song. Jagged Little Pill was one of my favorite first albums. And I was like 11 years old. Like one of the first albums I ever got. And anyways, well, yeah, I'm sorry if anybody's still listening that was offended. You probably would have turned me off anyways. Like, yeah, I respect all people, but it's the lack of Eh, I just care, even if I don't care, but a lot of other people do care, that's enough to make me care about something, you know what I mean? When, half of your fellow Americans, or a quarter of them, or a significant portion of them are like, "Oh, this really sucks," and that doesn't impact you, just the fact that, like, I felt bad for the people that really hated Trump when he won, because I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, it made me laugh a little." They were totally right. And why not stay natural? Because you're too beautiful out there. Eugenia's back. Love you, gorgeous state of Michigan, and beautiful letter. Sorry. Okay, so big point I wanted to make. I feel like I didn't do a good job. I got put chapstick on it. Which isn't petroleum based, so it doesn't make your lips dependent off of it as bad. There's people that like to remind me of how chapstick's bad for you. Epstein files. Officially, it is said his youngest victim was 14 years old. I could have sworn there was something about a 13-year-old in but like officially the DOJ says his youngest victim was 14 years old. Like the acceptable. I think that's absolutely disgusting and unacceptable. Oh my gosh, like that is so young. I couldn't imagine being groomed by an older man at that age. I would that's every year counts when you're a teenager. You know what I mean? The difference between 16 to 18 is significant. 18 to 20, that is significant. And they want to try to gloss over all of that, I feel like. Tons of pictures of him with small children, like toddlers, children. If you haven't seen it, Conspiracy Files has a few videos. It is hours of content. I tried to sift through it and get all the children's pictures. I have like a handful at least. But then there's tons, hundreds, if not thousands, of redacted CSAM pictures, child sexual abuse material. But then his youngest victim was 14? So are all those pictures that they didn't scan for the files they're releasing now? I'm guessing because they're too bad because the children are so young. Because 'cause they'll have teenagers. They'll have these as young as 14-year-old victims redacted, and they put redactions over their bodies too. But they still have the pictures, So it's like, "Oh my gosh, how bad is it?" Or is it just, like, really sick shit? And we all wanna, like, walk around thinking that elite, lots of money is, like, high class, makes you a high class person that would never do these, disgusting, lowest of the low things. And, yeah, I think that a lot of this is a distraction from that. I'm not saying that it was fake. I wouldn't doubt it was all fake, but the hate between the sides is real. And I'm sorry, I know I get hateful myself. We all need to process our anger sometimes, but like the cop, there was a footage at the memorial set up for Renee. However you feel about her, you don't have to go kicking around the shit people left in honor of her. That's evil. So and people like, they express themselves here in my chat, and I've seen it all over, saying that like they're glad. This one guy with a megaphone, he was saying, "We executed one of you," and that was like chilling to me. And I'm not a lefty. I don't consider myself one of you. Some people might, just because I said she didn't deserve to die, even though I said she shouldn't have been there. And it's really scary because that's how they're going to win the next civil war, the third world war. It's gonna be fought from the outside. It's gonna be psychological manipulation. There was this leak from China, I believe in the late 80s, early 90s. It was like this document talking about that. The next war that we fight with America, we're gonna go from the inside and work our way in and infiltrate their society and cause all these fractures. Doesn't that sound familiar? And I'm not saying that necessarily about China. Um, I don't feel they're who we have to worry about. I think we've given our own power away, and it's really stupid. Can't even make our own tanks. Okay. It's almost like the more rich you are, the more immoral you are. I agree, BBG. I just wonder, is it the kind of thing where you can't okay, so there was this I'm sorry, go on and on. There's a video on here, and it was on 4chan years ago. It's like 4 or 5 years old, and somebody turned it into a video here on YouTube that's like Epstein employee tells all. I'm just gonna say who they talked about. Supposedly, allegedly, they said Rihanna liked young girls. And then I just start thinking about how Rihanna's the billionaire. And I like Rihanna personally myself. I have nothing against Rihanna. I wouldn't expect this of her, but like, I'm not a fan of like every of her albums or anything, but some of her music is like classic. But I thought that was really interesting. And I'm just thinking, is it that you can't excel? Um, who was it that was in Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion? The blonde Savion, you know what I'm talking about? What was her name? Oh my gosh. Somebody was talking about how she outed Harvey Weinstein. She was the first person to out him, and that's why we never saw her again. You know what I'm talking about? The really pretty blonde and Romeo and Michelle. Her name started with an M. Was it Marissa? Anyways, yeah, it's just like even if you aren't sick, I think you're just as corrupted because you've rubbed shoulders with people knowing that they're like going upstairs to go do something disgusting and evil, but that's just the way it is. It's just like how those people are. But maybe they don't divulge it unless it's with other, I don't know. But yeah, I mentioned Boys Town earlier. That was a thing in Nebraska. You can look up the Wikipedia on it, and it's just really interesting. It's like they kept denying it. They kept saying that all the people came out were lying, and then that guy died in a plane crash that was in it. But it seemed like they were obviously trying to cover it. A lot of things have been going on for a long time, even before us. Yes, Sturge. No telling what those celebrities have done behind closed doors. Oh, BJ Investigates has made some really good videos lately on cloning. I need to go watch one right now. And have you guys seen the conspiracy theory that, and I'm smiling right now if you're listening to this, Taylor Swift is a clone of like, is it Anton LaVey's daughter? Is that who it was? Because she really does look so similar. It's funny to me to think about. Excellent points. You're amazing. You are right. Oh, Eugene, thank you. Witness me, Weinstein, Epstein, Silverstein. What's the commonality? Yeah. Yeah. And did you know Erica Kirk is related to Rothschild? And it was Rothstein was the name of her uncle. She had tagged in her Instagram or something like that. And people led that back to like Rothstein is related to Rothschild. So yeah, it's a small world when you're an elite. I mean, it can be a small world. I had this old British guy I worked with, and he had some of the craziest stories about like he sailed around the world twice, and during that time, he saw people he knew from the UK and like other parts of the world he wasn't expecting to, and it was just like wild. He had like three stories about like it's just crazy the places he would see people in the circumstances and like people really are like I do believe we're like connected and often like when you make connections with somebody in this life, like your soul is tied to them possibly from a previous life. Absolutely makes sense. I'm not AI, you just make perfect sense. Thanks, Eugene. I'm sorry, I don't mean to make fun of you. Uh Finally, a woman that makes sense price. That's so funny. I can't wait to tell my husband you said that. BBG, yeah, and she met Kirk on a job interview. She was clearly sent there to meet him. Right. After she hadn't dated at all for 5 years, even though she had. Lydia desire defense against the dark arts or strategies or healing strategies. Look me up. Thanks, Keith. I did subscribe to you. BBG, awesome stuff. I subscribed. I'll catch you next time. Thank you, BBG. That's awesome. Between human life and AI, you make perfect sense. Thanks. Oh, you're in Washington State? That's cool, Eugene. Did you read Spots on the Wall by No? Is that a joke? Who flung do? Okay, that's a joke, right? That's kind of funny you say that, Steve Kelly, because my dogs don't fling poo on the wall, but I have mastiffs, and we get lots of what we call plasma on the wall. It's like mucus and slobber, and we have a dog that's half Great Dane, half Neapolitan Mastiff. He has like the really droopy jowls. I'm never gonna get it again. Okay. Yeah, Keith, I need to look at more of it. I did like a lot of your shorts. Um, you can so cool, witness me. Oh, that's what my husband wanted. We couldn't afford one, like all the ones, were like out of our price range when we were looking. But we have a half Great Dane, half Neo, and then she's supposed to be English Mastiff. We adopted her, and she is pretty mastiffy. I don't know if she's all English Mastiff. Her snout is a little narrow. The older she gets, it's like she's definitely Mastiff. She's so big. Um, don't mean to sound like, but you mean and make perfect sense, and you were right. Keep going on, Eugene. Thank you for your beautiful following. Somebody that makes sense. I almost got 500 shorts. Oh, Keith, I didn't realize that. They're great dogs, all Mastiffs are. They really are, witness. Our boy dog, the Neo, he is a pain in the ass, but you know that stubborn streak Mastiffs have. But he is a good dog. I do walk them on the leash, so they're used to leashes still, but like most of the time they're off the leash. They're great. They listen. The girl listens better. Hi, Gabrielle. I'm doing good. How are you? I'm a busy neuro wizard indeed, Keith said. Well, I'm going to go. It was nice talking to you guys. I always feel bad once I'm like, I don't ever mean to be like, you have to think like me. You know what I mean? I think people know that watch all my content, which is like a handful of people, which is nice. Thank you, Danielson. You're just like, we need to not let them dehumanize our fellow Americans. And same thing goes for people like me and what was his name? Jonathan. I forget his last name, the name of the officer that shot her. I don't want him to be dehumanized any more than I want her to be dehumanized. But it is important, like, her girlfriend, her wife said, "Drive, baby, drive," and then after all was said and done, she was saying, "It's my fault, I told her to go," and I can only imagine, the trauma that a lot of people will get from this. Every time a tragic incident happens like this, I'm not just like, "Who was right? Who was wrong?" It's like everybody in the immediate area is going to be affected, for possibly, like, the rest of their lives, so it's just unnecessary to be pulling guns out and shooting people. Oh, Robert, you can see from how many views well, maybe you can't see yet. I've gotten way more than 8 people in here. I'm getting ready to go. Nobody cares what you're saying. There are 14 people. You think people really want to hear your problems when everyone else has problems too? It's there, spelled THERE, and two should have been TOO. Red flag one, you take to strangers. You're a red flag because you can't talk. I scrolled through like 100 lives just trolling people. You were the only base human out of all of them. Have a good night. That makes me happy, witness. And once again, I don't think everybody has to think like me. I just think the goal is to divide and conquer. And yeah, don't follow ICE. Don't go protesting in those ways. You can protest, but that's like peaceful protesting. You're staying out of law enforcement officers' way. Like I totally agree. Like, anyways. Robert, I've been married for 16 years, okay? My man's in bed. Love you guys. Good night.